What is a high cost to high drama? Martina Majov's Cost of Living, directed by Joe Bonney, isn't just about poor versus rich, but the cost of loving and loneliness as well. Eddie's mourning his wife who just died. We get to meet her in flashback scenes. They have a prickly relationship. In parallel scenes, we get to meet John, who is interviewing Jess to be his home aide to help shave and bathe him and make sure he's presentable as he earns his PhD. John's a bit of a snob and looks down on hard-working Jess because he has an entitled rich white man going, and it doesn't matter if you're stuck in a wheelchair, you can still be a prick. The acting was so superb that it glossed over the plot flaws. I was able to be drawn into the characters and have an emotional stake in their outcomes. Happy Face minus more on Facebook.
On June 19th, I got to see Broadway by the years 2007 to 2017, with a really fabulous cast because it was Scott Calder, Alice Ripley, Brandon Aronovitz, Christiane Knoll, Danny Gardner, Erin Davies, and more. And Alice Ripley, I didn't know she had it in it. She did the sexiest version of Fever. Plus, she also did I Miss the Mountains from her great show, which again, now next to normal. And Danny Glover, great tap dancing, and for a finale, a post-finale, it was tap dancing and putting on the Ritz, and there were so many good things. I'm sure you could see it on Facebook. Coming up is the Broadway's Rising Stars and Broadway Unplugged, and a lot of other things that Scott has planned. So big happy face for Scott Siegel Productions.
We went to the opening of the Crusade of Connor Stevens, written and directed by Dewey Moss. It's about this Texas family where a little girl was just killed, and the gay parents are coming to terms and grieving over it, and some of the family supports them and some of the family doesn't.
Right, and it's dealing with religious issues because one of the fathers, his father is an evangelical preacher who views homosexuality as an evil sin, and in one of his sermons, depending on how you interpret his words, he's either advocating going out and killing gay people, or he's saying live with sin until Jesus comes again. It's really very good about family and religious problems and how some people are supportive, especially like younger people who are thinking about the future, and an older grandmother who has nothing to lose anymore and won't be bullied by the preacher's son.
And also the thing I liked about this was the fact that it's very honest. They don't give you what you'd expect. They stick to the story and no happy endings, it just realistic endings. And it was just beautifully acted, and we were at the opening, and afterwards, when we're done with all the reviews, I talked to the producer about this, and I just think it's a really splendid play.
It's
so well done.
It's great to see something where a writer and director did a good job in both.
With a great cast. Lori Lazarus's Attack of the Elvis Impersonators. It's a lot of goofy fun and the kind of show I love seeing at the Fringe. And this is directed by Don Stevenson. As you know from other shows, because I've been showing you lots of song selections from it. And after this, there'll be interviews now. Drac Frenzie is bored with his heavy metal persona as frontman for Heavy Bones, and with a chance gift from BFF Matt Shadows, he turns into Elvis and spreads the religion of Hound Dog, which is all peace and love. Connor Stevens' family should hear this one. He meets his own true love, Prissy, who is the queen of the digital, while he is king of kings. His manager tries to dissuade him from this Elvis path. The religious press and the Antichrist is against him, and even the president is persuaded to think that Elvis is a threat. Will peace and harmony be restored, or will the dark forces take over? I love this. I know a lot of you might be offended by the way the religious people are portrayed in their cartoony manner, but I'm very sensitive to that sort of thing. And I just found it so silly and fun. So I'm giving it a happy face and enjoy it. I went to see Occasion for Sin at the Planet Connection Theater Festivity that's going on still this weekend until July 9th. And it was about Saint Teresa and how before she became a saint, and the conquistadors of Spain conquering and eliminating the Incas, and religious Garcia versus, Prince Philip's region. Anyway, you can read the review on Facebook. But there's still stuff going on, Planet Connection Theater Festivities. The money goes to a charitable cause. They always put on interesting plays, and I love Glory, who founded this, so I'm giving her a happy face, and hopefully the rest of the shows will be good.
And another new young theater company we discovered is Shellscrape Theater Company, which I just saw their production of Insomnia, which is a large group of very well-rehearsed performers doing various people who live in an apartment building and how they deal with middle-of-the-night adventures. I didn't like it too much, but I'm looking forward to things coming up in the future. They're doing The Maids in October and Titus Andronicus next March, and I think it's a really exciting company. So mixed face for this, but happy for them and their prospects.
Miss Saigon is back on Broadway, better than ever it was before. I couldn't stand it the first time I saw it. But this time around, I was quite moved by the story of poor orphan Kim. Is it Kim?
Yeah.
All right. Poor orphan Kim, who loses her parents, and she comes to the big city, and she's taken over by the engineer, and she's turned into a woman of the night. And she meets an American soldier, and there's a backup of the Vietnam War behind everything. And
yeah, it's basically Madame Butterfly, and it's really closer to opera than typical musical comedy. And I thought it was very emotionally rich, and I actually liked the music, and I loved the choreography and the staging. I thought Eva Noblezada was really great as Kim, and John Briones was wonderful as the engineer, really sleazy. And he was kind of overlooked for any of the awards, but he...
no, that's not true.
Okay. What did he get?
I think he was nominated for the Drama Desk and maybe the Outer Critics. And
definitely not Tony's.
But him and Eva both got Theater World Awards.
Oh, good.
And maybe, I don't know, but he was, and even, I got interviews later on, the Elvis, the Eva, all my interviews are going to be after we talk. And I also got in with John Briones too at the Theater World Awards. And yeah, I mean, I was really, moved this time around. I was very surprised because
it's a story about a mother, so of course
right, maybe because I'm a mother now, but because it was kind of boring the first time I saw it.
I was never bored. I always liked it.
And of course, the American soldier comes out as such a bastard. Oh my God, I was just so pissed off at him.
Well, he's had his own problems. He is a bit of a bastard, but he's not as, the real heavy is really the engineer who has the American dream, which is corrupting him.
Yes, and oh my God, John Briones was so good. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, he's very masterful.
Yeah.
And she really, got all the emotion, and she, is a really great singer and actress and mover.
Yeah, and she's like, I think she's only like 18 years old.
So we'll see a lot of her.
And we should say the music is by Claude Michel Schoenberg, lyrics by Richard Maltby Jr., Alan Bulbil. It was staged by Bob Avian and directed by Lawrence Connor. So
it's definitely well worth a second look.
Right, and if you saw it before and didn't like it, go back and revisit it because you are going to be surprised.
One of our favorite plays, Indecent, by Paula Vogel and Rebecca Taichman, and directed by Rebecca Taichman, got an extension which it well deserves. It deals with the writing of God of Vengeance, a 1907 play by Sholem Ash, and the performers, a Jewish group who performed it in Yiddish, it's a Yiddish language play, around the world, and when they wanted to do it on Broadway in English, they got in big trouble. And it's really basically a story also of all the trials and troubles of Jewish people in the 20th century. Brilliant direction, brilliant choreography by Daniel Dorfman.
I think, isn't it David Dorfman?
David Dorfman, okay.
Yeah, David Dorfman.
sorry.
Who I talked to, the Lucy Lortel. Again, more interviews I'm going to have with Rebecca Taichman and with David Dorfman and Katrina Lenk. I mean, this had an amazing cast, and it just shows you that, you know, if only they had not been, you know, kicked out of the country, that would have, I'm sorry about to sneeze. That would have saved their lives. I mean, basically, by condemning them for being obscene, you're condemning them to death. And it's also, you know, about the whole lesbian relationship in the play is explored. And it's just done so beautifully. It's just that whole thing about the outsiders and how you're destroyed by society.
And what's really exciting about it is it uses a lot of avant-garde techniques of kind of movement and repeated imagery, but in a way that's thoroughly absorbing and teaches a historical lesson and really explains what this play is about. It's like the best of both traditional and avant-garde theater as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I'm not that fond of avant-garde theater, but my God, I mean, the way this was directed was beautiful. And look, it's been given a reprieve,
So make sure you don't miss it now.
Right, you've got 6 weeks. You know, look, we missed Sweat. That ended too soon. 6 degrees of separation ended before it was supposed to. And I have wonderful interviews from those plays, which I also want to show you. So, yeah, we got lots. I got all these interviews I never have time to put in. So I'm going to put them in this time around. So, yes, catch Indecent. It would be indecent if you missed it. Okay, we got a lot of interviews for the Crusade of Connor Stevens, Mary Beidler Gearen, Loran Peterson, and from the Saigon we have Jean Briones and Eva Noblezada. Indecent we have David Dorfman, Rebecca Taichman, and Katrina Lenk. And from the Attack of the Elvis, Eric Sciotto.
With
Mary Gearen.
and
Loran Peterson.
and you are.
I'm an associate producer on the Crusade of Connor Stevens, and I'm very proud of this wonderful show. It's a show like no other that's being done, covering subject matter that is so important to our time and our life and our friends and our families. And
What is that?
well, it deals with family struggles having to do with a range of issues, from politics, religion, LGBT issues, gun violence, and you will see that all these tricky topics are handled in a most masterful way by Dewey Moss, who is the writer, the playwright, and also the director of this wonderful project. And James Kyberd and the cast turn in breathtaking performances. We cried for a long time after the show just because we were so moved. And I have a life in the theater, as does Loran, and we know wherever we speak.
How did you find this project to begin with?
Well, I was an investor on a new musical called Hit Her With the Skates by Christine Ray and Rick Briskin, and that was just performed in its pre-New York run at the Rahway stage in Rahway, New Jersey, Hamilton stage, and Dewey Moss Productions was a co-producer on that, and so Dewey found out that I read scripts and do some edits and things like that, and he said, take a look at my script, and I knew that I was in the presence of genius, and so immediately I knew that I had to invest in this most marvelous play.
And your association is very interesting.
Well, I'm Mary's high school drama teacher.
Well, you got her started on this wonderful path.
Take full credit.
But he has also founded a community theater company called Lancaster Players in Lancaster, Ohio, which is my hometown, and they've been doing wonderfully. So we went to see Cats yesterday evening because they'll be doing Cats in the springtime. So it was really kind of fun to put together our interests like that.
I'm always amazed by community theater. Sometimes they're even better than real theater.
Oh yeah, it's sometimes I say there's more drama on stage than there should be.
We are with Jane Alexander. And what brings you to the Crusade of Connor Steve? Well, I was lucky enough to read the play, and I thought it was wonderful, and I'm a friend of James Kybert, so I look forward to seeing this. It's going to be
John Briones.
Oh, you don't look as scary in person.
Oh, I'm actually just playing a part.
Isn't it amazing how people who survive do such desperate things, and they're nice people, but they turn to these awful characters just for survival?
Well, you know, it happens every day. It happens all over the world, and I actually witnessed it growing up in a third world country in the Philippines. So yeah, it's kind of cool telling people stories, especially that part of the world.
So, how you feel being at the Theater World Award?
This is awesome. This is great. I'm very honored.
And all your nominations.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. I thought, you know, just being on Broadway is such a blessing. But this is, you know, topping one icing after another.
Well, it couldn't happen to a more evil character.
Why, thank you very much. I try to be.
Thank you.
Even Noblezada.
So, what's it like doing Miss Saigon? Oh my God, what a part. I don't know how you unwind at night.
I don't. That's the beauty of being an actor. You don't sleep until 3.
Well, did you know anything about the whole Vietnamese period of that time?
No, because in American schools you don't really learn about things like that. Sometimes the important things are glazed over. And I had to do most of the research by myself, which was a pain, but it was so necessary. We watched documentaries, things that burned images in my mind of like things that everyone should see. And you have to kind of understand the historical importance of the Vietnam War before you can do a show like this, definitely.
What did you think about your character?
I didn't know anything about her, and I'm still finding things out about her till this day. And I was such a baby when I first was cast as it, so it took a lot of years of me learning how to become a woman. And she's just amazing. She's incredible. She's a fighter, and I love her. I love her so much.
She's a survivor despite everything, and my God, you have a gorgeous voice.
Thank you so much.
And here we are with
David Dorfman from Indecent for choreography.
Oh, that's right. You did the choreography.
The choreographer, yeah. I had a lot of help. Great director, Rebecca Taichman, also up for an award. Incredible cast. The play is also up for a Lortel. So I felt really privileged and lucky to be with such an incredible ensemble.
It's such an important subject matter. It's like...
I think so. Particularly for this moment in time. The idea of tolerance, of empathy, of the power of theater, of immigration, of lesbianism, of everything, of kissing. Yeah, it's about everything.
What killed me about this literally was that if they had not gotten in that indecent charge, they'd all be alive. It's like the courts actually killed them.
That's a really, really great observation that very few people have said. It also, it's as if the court and other factors killed Yiddish theater, killed Yiddish language. That's one of the big losses that is really centered to the story. But that's a great observation. If they hadn't been banned, they wouldn't have had to go back. They would have been flourishing in the United States, and they would have been alive. Yeah.
And also the fact that the young showman asked, oh, this could be the greatest play ever, and then when he got older to wash his hands of it. I mean, there was so much rich conflicts in this thing.
Yes, we were talking about that today at the talk back, about a moral ambiguousness to the character and to the play. And we're complicated human beings, aren't we, in a complicated world? And I think Paul and Rebecca have done an incredible job of bringing that to the public in a very moving way.
The dirt thing in the beginning and Katrina, Lenk, and her dance movements were like astounding.
Oh my gosh, how lucky am I to work with Katrina, Lenk, and with Tom Nels and the whole cast. Oh my gosh, yeah. And Katrina's here for Ben's visit tonight as well, so I'm really happy for her. Yeah, just what a privilege to work with that cast. The same cast for all 4 productions. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell what an ensemble they are.
Yeah, and I think that because it was about a theater troupe, it couldn't have been more appropriate. Because it was about a theater troupe going to Broadway, and now we're on Broadway, unbelievable. So the stars were with us. We feel super lucky, and I feel lucky to be here today. This is not my normal element, so I feel a real privilege here.
Well, we're with
Rebecca Taichman, director of Indecent. Paula wrote a stage direction at the beginning of the play that says, the company rises from ashes. So there had to be a theatrical, simple way to do that. So it was from there that the idea sprung, really. I mean, it's very moving and deeply sad how relevant the play has become over the time that we've been working on it. You know, the issues that the play raises about, you know, a country that doesn't welcome its immigrants, homophobia, you know, are so deeply, like, profoundly current in a way that I wish they weren't. The play also celebrates love and hope and the faith that love will triumph. I think that the title Indecent hopefully operates on many levels. And it's, you know, both, they were charged with an indecent, immoral, and obscene show. So we sort of pulled it out of the jury charge, the arrest charge. But yeah, I think it's meant to operate on many levels, that what happens to this company is indecent as well as what they're charged with is indecent. So we got lucky and did the show 4 times, 4 productions with the same company. So there's really nothing that that stands in for a time, right? So we actually just had the opportunity to build a company over 2 years together. It almost never happens. So I think there's just an authenticity to how the company is working together because they know each other so well, because we created the piece very much in collaboration. It's not something I would take kudos for. I think that's really a group experience that we've passed through together and built together.
And here we are, Katrina, Lenk. What's it like getting not just the theater world award, but being 2 of like the best shows of the season?
It's pretty incredible. This is pretty much how I respond. Like, it's so much I don't know what to say. I'm just so grateful for all of these opportunities right now. It's been a really good season.
They both have incredible messages. I mean, you know, with the Jews and the Arabs getting together, and then you have Indecent, you know, with the Holocaust and yet lesbian. I mean, there's just all these really important subject matters, and you've covered them all in your show.
Yes, and sadly, the topics in both shows have become more and more relevant this past year, which is great that we're talking about them, but also sort of frightening that the world is changing in a way that it makes it really necessary to have these shows on Broadway and people are getting exposed to what we're saying in these shows.
Well, your shows give us hope.
I hope so. I'm glad.
Hello, I'm Eric Sciotto. You're here at the Attack of the Elvis Impersonators. Attack of the Elvis Impersonators is about a crazy drugged-out rock star named Drac Frenzie, who basically ditches all of his fame to become his true passion, an Elvis impersonator. I am that guy. I play Drac Frenzie. But first, he reinvigorates his own love for Elvis, which starts a national and worldwide wave of adoration for all things Elvis. And then, some plot stuff I can't quite give away make him more than just someone who has the spirit. What did I know about Elvis? Well, honestly, I mean, I grew up knowing about him peripherally, right? We had his Christmas album every year. It was like, you know what I mean? And so once I got this phone call from Don, which of course I said yes, because it's Don Stevenson, I went and researched the crap out of him, and I watched a million things, and I became completely obsessed. He's amazing. He's hilarious. He's all the things everybody says and more. His outtakes are hilarious. He's a goofball. He's funny. He loved to have a great time, and I think really, for me, that's what excited me about him, is like, that's a guy who loved what he did for an amount of time. I know things went awry, but we're not addressing all of that because it's not a biopic. And I have 2 little kids, and the other night my daughter, I was singing her to bed 3 songs every night, and she's like, do it like Elvis. So yeah, that happened. It's an original music, which is really cool, and I think that's something that people don't really know about when they see that title and they hear his name. They're assuming we're doing his music. No, it's 100% original music, a very inventive and crazy and cool, fun idea for a plot. It just happens to involve very heavily the spirit of Elvis. So it's been really interesting to learn to impersonate him and to kind of do his thing, but not on any of his material, because it's much easier to sing his song like himself. You know what I mean? But the plot goes crazy. Think sci-fi B-movie, like we said, Little Shop, Rocky Horror, Urinetown, all of those, what I consider smaller, unapologetically
strange musicals, this is it. It's a blast. It's really fun, has awesome heart, has a great message, wrapped up in a really crazy bunch of situations, and some bell-bottoms.
For full interviews with more of the creative and cast, go to my Facebook page. And Planet Connection Theater festivities going on still. And Occasion for Sin, you can still catch it. Ambassador Jones, I'm going July 5th. And I'm going to go see Momix on July 4th, and they are such a great dance company. And Theater for New Audience is doing Measure for Measure, and we're going July 9th, and I'm hopefully seeing the two-character play by Tennessee Williams. Encores is back with Assassins, which I'm seeing July 14th, and Kristen Child's Bubbly Black Girl sheds her chameleon skin. Scott Siegel's doing Broadway Rising Stars at the Town Hall. Super Shaw Women with an incredible cast like Blair Brown and Mia Caddick back, and Nymph is back with all the musicals. Government Inspector's been extended to the New World stages. Attack of the Elvis Impersonator and Crusade of Connor Stevens. You should check out. They're really good. On our next show, July 22nd, we will talk to people from the play that goes wrong. Glad Indecent's been extended. The 9th annual Broadway Meows with Seth Beeson Hirsch is going on at Don't Tell Mamas. Lots going on at 54 Below with Scott Siegel, Michael Levine, and Tim Riabalto. It's free theater in the park time. So I'm going to put all this on the Facebook page so that you can really check it out, where it all is and how to get there, because it's a lot of good stuff. And at Cherry Lane, next show we'll talk about Traveling Lady. In a Word by Loran Yee is about a couple that is coming to terms with their child that went missing 2 years ago on the mother's watch, so she can't get over it, and the guy just wants to go out and have a nice dinner again. Loran Yee concentrates more on language than emotion, so I gave it a mixed. And I glossed over at the York, but you can see these designs by James Morgan, and me and Alan were going July 16th, and there'll be more on the Facebook page. And check out the Ice Factory. And Soul Pepper Theater Company is coming all the way from Canada with all sorts of wonderful entertainment. And the Berkshire Theater Group, they brought us Fiorillo last year. They are such a wonderful place. And you should go make a theater trip to see all their wonderful shows. And coming up, America the Golden Land, Everything About a Day Almost at Tada. And these are closed shows that we reviewed. And I got to tell you more about my American Theater Critics Association trip to San Francisco, which was really good. And special guest Jamie Alexander, Benjamin Rahala. Next show, July 22nd. Don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider, Cultural Heartbeat in New York City. And check us out on Facebook and Twitter.